Hello everyone, I'm Carolyn from Tranquil Mentor and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to be making a 3D printed bunny cookie cutter. We will be using Affinity Designer 2 to make the layers and Tinkercad to make the actual cookie cutter. We also used ZYL Tech Silky PLA filament from Amazon. And here we are in Affinity Designer, and I'm using the pen tool just to quickly sketch out half of a bunny. I'm clicking on the node tool here, and this is going to help us stretch out this curve to make the ear. The pattern's a little jaggedy, so I have to go in and I'm going to use the node tool and the nodes and the handles to get this out. Now these can change from a point. If you go up top, you can convert these nodes into a sharp corner or a smooth corner. And I didn't want a real sharp turn in there. I wanted it kind of curved, but that'll help me get the curve that I'm looking for. And then I'm just going to keep going through, rounding off my shape, doing my curves, and changing the nodes into what I need. And then also that one node there, the red node, means that was my last point. So we're going to, and here's our stroke, that's half of the bunny. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to copy this bunny, the half of the bunny, and then I'm going to click and I'm going to mirror that. And those tools are up top, and they're the blue and gray tools, just at the very top of the top bar, at the toolbar. And then we're going to push these together. And then here you'll see we've got that one red point, and it does make a green guideline, but we're going to make that one, we want to make this one path. So we're going to click, and then what I'm doing here is just changing out the nodes to make them one. I want to make this completely one path. So when I push it over, it doesn't totally work. So I'm going to have to put them near each other. The bottom part of it worked out great, but here they don't seem to be doing that. So I'm going to join them, and I'm going to go up top to that menu, and there is a join button, and I'm going to click both of them, and then you'll see it joins and makes this all one path. If I click down here, I want to soften that and make that a smooth curve because it's a little pointy. So I'm going to go up top again into my little curves area, and then I'm going to click to smooth the curve, and that rounds out the bottom. All right, and then we're zooming out, and I just want to show you that that's our bunny, a very small stroke on it right now, and our bunny is formed, and it's all one path and joined together. And then we're going to make, what I love about Affinity Designer, it also has the ability to make these separate artboards. And we're going to need and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to leave that bunny for a template, so to speak, and then I'm going to make 3 artboards. And this one, that artboard, I'm going to make 5 by 5 inches. And then I've got my bunny, I copied it over, right-clicked and copy. And now we've got one bunny, and then we're going to go and make another artboard. And then we're going to click our bunny, and we're going to click on copy, and then we're going to put that bunny right in the middle. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the middle anyway, but then here's our third artboard, which is really helpful. You don't have to go making 3 documents. You can do it all in one, and then keep them for later if you want to make any changes or anything. So we're going to copy that bunny again, and we're going to put that into the third artboard. And what I found works best is to right click up on the word artboard, and then you can change the name of it. And then that will help us when we export later, we'll know. So this guy, bunny bottom, that's going to be our last, I guess you could say, our bottom piece, where it's going to be our handle where we're going to cut with. And it will all make sense a little bit later when you see it. And then for our second and third, I've made it middle, bunny middle, and bunny blade. And then now for this part here, we need to make that stroke bigger. And I'm working in points, and I'm going to make that stroke, if you look up in the right hand corner of the screen, we're going to make that stroke 17 and see how thick that makes that. And the points just seem to work out easier for me. And then I can do that little bar and mix them back and forth. Now, this bunny is going to be our 5.7 point stroke. That's what we're going to put on the middle bunny. And then our last bunny is going to have a 2.3 stroke on it. And that's going to be our bunny blade. Now here for this guy, we only have one single path. So what we need to do is we're going to need this doubled, so to speak. So what I found, and what I love, another thing I love about Affinity Designer, is it has this feature. If you click on layers and you go down into expand, you can expand the stroke, and that gives you 2 lines. It's not, you don't really have to do an offset. You can do an offset, but I just like that expand. I think that's a great tool. It's in the layers panel. So we're doing, that's our bunny bottom. We're going to go do our bunny middle, and we're going to, and I have, showing you that I did have this as an SVG, and I did 300. I probably didn't have to. And then here, you're just going to be saving your SVG. And then we're going to call that bunny middle, and we're going to save that. Okay. And then now I'm showing you again that this is saved as an SVG. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and save that and put that into our little folder up there. Okay. So now we have these 3 little layers, and then I'll go through again and just show you too, this, saving this as an SVG. And what we're doing too, we're saving the selection area so that we don't save the whole artboard. We're just doing the bunny itself. That's called the selection area. You select it, and then you will save it that way. So you're not saving the entire thing. So now if you go back up into here, we've got our bunny, and this is our bunny bottom piece. And then we're going to go over, and I want to show you that we're going to expand the stroke. Layers and expand the stroke. Okay, and then now we've got our double path there. Without using offset, we've got our double path. Very simple steps to getting what you want, and then exporting that as an SVG will work out really great, because that's what Tinkercad does really good with SVGs. So here we'll show you again. We're going to go into layers, and we're going to go down to expand stroke, and then you can see that we've got our double offset again, or our, I should call it our expanded stroke is what this is. And you can see that it's got 2 areas. And then this one too, I like to show you. We're going to click on this, and then we'll do layer again, and then we'll expand stroke. And then I'll zoom in on here just to show you that it is double. It's kind of hard to see. And here we go. You can see that it's double, very tiny, and that is going to be our blade piece. So we want to make sure that's very tiny so that it can cut our clay, or if you're actually, I'm using it for air dry clay, but if you're making something with clay or actual cookies, you'll have a little blade. And there's our 3 bunnies, and that document will be saved also in Affinity Designer document. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to take that bunny and we're going to export him out, and then we're going to save it. So we'll go into File, and then we just chose our selection area. We're going to go into SVG again. Okay, and selection area, And then that bunny is going to be saved as an SVG. Just in case you missed that, I just wanted to repeat that back again so that we had that under wraps there and that you understood what we're doing. I know sometimes repetition always helps me to see something a second time. And I zoomed out on the screen too, just to show you that this is all going to be, we're going to export these, and you only have to export them once. I'm just going, as I said, back through the process just to show you. I feel that this is a really important part to understand, and it took me a long time to get to this point where I was able to find a software that would do this, that would actually expand the stroke instead of going into offsets. I can do the offsets, but I just felt that that was just cutting out so many different processes and that it was just going to be better all around. And I was really happy to find it. And I'm not going to add doubles into these files. I'm going to save them as the, you know, as I go along. I'm going to still save them and overwrite them as the same files with the same names is what I'm trying to say. And then we're going to export, and we'll just make our selection, and then we're going to do our SVG selection area only. And then we'll just take a look at that menu, and we're going to hit save again and just save that just as our blade. And then yes, we're going to overwrite it. And here we have it. It looks like we are ready to go here. And then, as I was saying before, we are going to be going into Tinkercad. We're going to go on Google, and if you haven't yet set up an account, and if you go on that right hand side where it says create, you're going to click that plus create sign after you've made your account, and then this will bring you into Tinkercad. And then what I like to do right away is change the name, because it usually gives funky names and I don't know what I can't remember them. So I'm just going to type in bunny cookie cutter, and I'm going to save that name. And then we're going to get these bunnies into Tinkercad. So the first one we want to do is the bunny bottom. And then I'm checking my name again, showing you that I'm in Tinkercad. And we're going to go over and we're going to import over on the right hand side. And then it says choose a file. And it does take a little bit sometimes. And then we'll do the bunny bottom, which is going to be our bottom piece. And then we do get this error message here that the file is too big, and I learned after a while to scale things down, and I had to just adjust until I figured out the right thing. It doesn't always, for me, it doesn't always come in the same way, but I used 10 as the lowest number and I scaled it, and then the error went away, so we were good. And then we can import an artboard and import. And then there is our bottom layer, and I have them in different colors because as layers come in, Tinkercad assigns a color to them, which is fine. I don't mind this color at all. And I eventually am going to resize this, but as these come in, I'm going to leave them the size that they come in. And then I'm taking that, clicking that middle button there, and you can see I'm lowering the size of it, the height of it. And it's going to be 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And then here, where I'm showing you that if you don't work in inches and you work in millimeters, you can change that. And I tend to work in inches because I can remember them quicker. And so we'll have that in as 1/8 of an inch. And then we're going to go in, and our next piece is going to be our middle piece. And we're going to click on that. We're going to get the error message again that the file is too big. And then we're going to scale it to our 10%. And then just check everything, make sure we can get in. We hit our artboard and then import. And here is our second layer, and it dropped it right center. And you can also up in the top there is an alignment tool that you can use if you need to center it. And then for this second blade here, we're going to make this a 1/2 inch tall and 1/2 inch high. Okay. And you can type it into, if you need to, type the dimension in. Sometimes it's a little bit easier, but I usually click in the middle and then I resize. I either drag it down or I type in the dimension. Okay, and then we'll just rotate that canvas around a little bit, or the work plane, and you can see what we've done so far. And then we're going to choose our blade, bunny blade, for our last piece. Bunny blade is right here. We're going to click open. And then we got our error. We're going to do artboard. We're going to scale it to 10% and it should bring it right in. It is taking a little bit. Sometimes it does. You see that green over to the left. It does take a little bit. Okay, now it has placed it in and it is not very easy to see the difference. So what I'll do is, through this video, I'll be taking these apart and showing you different things so that you can see the difference. And also this size right here, we want to separate that out and just double check our heights and everything. Okay, and I got to make that height a little bit higher. Perfect. And then I'm going to change the color of this too. And then you just click on that dot up there that says solid. And you just click in there and then you can rotate around on the color wheel and change it to any color that you want. Because I want you to see the differentiation of the blade. It was hard to see. And I've done, in the middle of all this, I've done alignment as well and done some centering. And I'll show you that soon too. And then here is our sort of top view of, kind of pictorial view, I guess, of the bunny. And then I click the alignment tool up top, and then when I align, I do that gray, those two gray pieces. You click on those and that will center everything, the little dots. So those gray dots, when they're clicked on, that centers everything. And most likely it will center it as it brings it in, but you can also, if you need to recenter anything, you can use the alignment tool up top. Okay, and then I'm just panning around, and what I do is right click and drag, and I can look around, and then I've done a marquee, and I've drawn a marquee around here so that I can select all of my layers. And I'm just going through and showing you how you can select all of your layers at one, and you draw that marquee around and that just selects everything. Okay, and then we'll just click it again. It's going to show you a little bit of the differentiation here. And I took these apart just to show you again, and I didn't realize until I was looking through the interface here that there's that little, right underneath the colors, there's this little radio button type box, and you can use those sliders to change the quality. And I didn't see that before, so I'm going through and I'm going to use all the little sliders to change the second quality, and then I'm going to do that on the third one because I want that quality as high up as it can go. And then also above the quality slider, you can change the height, and I didn't see that before either, but I'm sure it's been there forever. So you can change your heights that way. If you don't want to go and click the little button in the middle, you can change it that way also. And then there's our two gray dots when we do centering or alignment, and that will make sure that they pop in and that they're all centered. And they just need to all be centered on top of each other and lined up. And then I'm just showing you here, you could see the blade and the differentiation of the blade plus the bottom, the purple, the very purple bottom, that's where you would hold it to do your cookie stamping or clay stamping. And then that's underneath what it's going to look like on the work plane. If you're looking underneath it, it's going to look like that. And then I'm just showing you, I'm right clicking and dragging and just showing you how you can move around the work plane, and then you can look at everything, and then how you select everything. You draw that marquee around, And then we're going to change colors of everything. I'm going to change these to a pink, and since they're selected, all of them are selected, I can change all of them to pink at one time. And you can also click on that little solid button with the colors, and then we're going to group. Very importantly, up at the top here, you're going to group, and you select the group button, but everything does have to be selected. So, select all of them, and then you're going to group that together. And now they will be all as one. If you didn't group them together when you brought them into the slicer, they would come in very confused and probably into pieces. So I'm just going around the work plane again, right clicking and dragging, just to make sure everything looks good and that the cutter is going to be what I want. Looking at the height, looking at the blade and all of the shaping, just double checking it to make sure that it's everything that I want it to be. And I really do like the way that came out. I think it looks good. Now for the resize. If you hold your shift button and you drag, it will resize in proportion. And I want these to be about 3.5 inches tall. So I'm just going to drag in. And this is our side view of what this looks like. And disregard those little notes. It's sometimes when I click where I shouldn't, those little notes come up and I don't know how to delete them. All right, and I think everything is looking good here. And we'll just take that extra look at it, and we are going to export it as an STL. And we're going to go up in that right panel, hit export and export out. Now STL is the layers. It converts it into a file that we can print. Now you can see it's up in my downloads in the right hand corner, and I'm going to click on that folder and that will open that up. And we need to get it into our slicer, and yours might be different. I have Cura, but I'll show you if you have a different one, you can do open with and then go down and you just choose another app or select what you need. Now here Ultimaker is in here, so I can click on that, and then I have it checked off always open and use this app. So if I double clicked on Cura on that file, it would have just opened right up in Cura. And Cura, Ultimaker Cura is my slicer. I have a Creality 3 Pro, and this is the slicer that I use with it. All right, perfect. And it's looking good here, and I'm just showing you the bottom. And when there's turquoise at the bottom, that shows that the object is laying flat. So there's not going to be any kind of, inflexibility or cut off of the bottom of your piece. And it's just showing, and I'm just showing you how to, you right click and drag around here as well and just move around, and you can take a look at everything. And then here I have my, how I'm going to tell it to print it. And these are preferences, and I'm going to make this 20% infill, and that always seems to work pretty good. And then I'm going to slice, and I have a little SD card, and it will go on there, and see where it says save to removable. I'm going to, in my PC, I have a little removable drive and with an SD card in it, like a USB. And then I'm going to hit, when it's done, I'm going to safely eject it. And then I'll put that into my 3D printer, and that little SD card has the file on it. That's the way I 3D print. I print from my SD card. It's just easier because it doesn't tie up my laptop or my PC. So we'll just do it that way. And then I also go ahead and I save to disk as well, which will be saving to my PC. And then that way I have the project. If I need to go back into it and take a look at it, or if I lose it or my SD card gets corrupted or something, I can go back to that file and I can work with it again. And it's saved project as. We have been adding something new to our channel. We've been going live with 3D printing. It's something to look out for. We've added a little bit of the time lapse of the bunny cookie cutter so you can see the printing process. We will add the finished cutter here at the end of the video. If you make 3D printed cookie cutters, share the inspiration and tag us on Instagram at tranquil_mentor. And also, you can visit us on Facebook at Tranquil Mentor. Keep in mind, if you're feeling a little down or overwhelmed, do some crafting and DIYing. It can really help to reduce some anxiety and give you an outlet. Be kind to yourself and make something great. We also have some journals linked below that can help keep you on track with your behavioral health and well-being. And if you are already one of our subscribers, welcome back and thanks for watching our video today. And if you're not a subscriber, welcome to our channel. And if you would be so kind to subscribe and like our video, it helps YouTube notice us a little more, and it supports our channel and helps us to grow. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
All I